the Zen swing, part of the Qigong philosophy or set of exercises, or my derivative thereof. I've been struggling for many years with shoulder pain, neck pain, muscle spasms in my neck, pain down the scapula, between the spine, scapula, which is areas of the rhomboid major and minor, and one or two other muscles, I can't remember the name. The issue I had is obviously pain, and stretches would relieve that pain for a very short period of time, and it would come back very quickly. And I was getting desperate. Apart from gym and all that sort of thing, which is more moving the muscles, I found that this might actually work because it was more of a mobility thing. The standard Qigong movement is a very loose arm swing with your head held directly in front of you. Your focus is on a point in the distance. You're loosely swinging your arms, and your hips follow your arms, transferring your weight onto your left leg when you move to the left and your right leg when you move to the right. You add a little bit of a hip swing, which adds stretch and motion to all the rest of the body, muscles in that part of your body. So it's a right swing, left swing, right swing, left swing. You're supposed to do this, some of you are talking about 10 minutes or more. I usually just do a count. So I started off doing the basic movement. You start off feeling a little bit stiff, a little bit strange, but eventually you get a little bit looser. So the whole body starts moving with it. What I found though is that if I added a little bit more movement into it, particularly in my arms, not so much my hips, but it does also help with the sciatic and the iliotibials. So it helps a bit of a stretch, gets the mobility going there. What I've added to it is I've added a stretch movement. So where you reach over here, I push back. So when you reach over here, I push back. Feel a little bit of a stretch in your deltoid and your pecs, and that helps loosen up this muscle. For the rhomboid, you're pushing up and closer towards your body. So it pulls over here, pulls down that area, and it pulls across the back of your arm. Excuse me if I don't know the names properly, but I'm not a doctor and I'm not a trained physiotherapist or any of that. This is all exercises I've added to myself. So I can feel on my right side here, I've got a big stretch happening. So there's a stretch and there's a stretch. Stretch and stretch. Now don't overdo it in the beginning. You don't want to injure yourself. And as I said, I'm not a trained professional, so seek the advice of a doctor or a professional before doing this, especially if you've had an injury. So, and what I do is every morning, I'll do 50, which is a left and a right. So it's 1, 2, 3. And you do that till you reach 50. So that's 1. And it's all about mobility. So it's not force, strength, or pushing into the stretch. You just want to touch on the stretch. Touch, touch, touch. So that you don't overdo it and injure yourself. All you're trying to do is get the blood flowing, get those muscles used to moving, and back the way you were when you were 20. So you just keep doing it. You do that 50 times. If you, like me, who operates a camera or sits at a computer desk for hours on end, and you feel it starts bothering you, you start getting that little niggle just at the bottom here. That's where mine starts. I don't know where yours starts. If you feel you're getting that little niggle, just stand up, and do 50 of these. And it takes a couple of minutes, 1-2 minutes. So you're bringing the blood flow back and you're increasing your mobility. Yeah. Now, a variation of this, which is going to look a little bit funny, I was just moving my body around in weird and wonderful ways to find out how I can maximize the stretch of that muscle. So I was pulling my arms forward and over. And what I found is that if I do this, it really grabs those muscles. Right now, I've been a couple of months without pain. It's been, having lived with it for maybe 10, 15 years, within a couple of months, it's all cleared. But now, this seems to give me more of a stretch, more of a pull on those muscles. But you obviously don't want to overdo it and you don't want to injure yourself. You're just adding mobility, bringing that flexibility back so that your joints don't lock when they become sedentary. They want to remain active. So this one tends to take my breath away because I forget to breathe. And this one I only really figured out a couple of days ago, so I haven't really got into the numbers on how many to do. I think just maybe do it until you're bored or tired. And there was a lady on one of the comments that mentioned she was in a wheelchair. And I think this might assist in that you don't have the space or the range of movement. But I think this might help. And it's not over the head. It's slightly forward. So you bringing your arm slightly forward and stretching those muscles. So just adjust the angle until you feel where it's pulling. And you're just bouncing off that pull. You're not stretching it, which is just going to become painful. You're just bouncing into it. Bouncing into it. Okay. Same with the Qigong moves. And try and get your hips into it so that it exercises the lower back and maybe does something for these love handles, if you have them. Transfer the weight. Off you go. Like I say, maybe I'm just fortunate in that this has helped me. But yeah. Maybe another thing you're struggling with is neck mobility. Tense muscles going down, which is part of the whole combination of pains I was experiencing. Stiff muscles going down into your back. Mine's specifically on my right-hand side, sometimes on my left. Causes these muscles to spasm and then transfer into a migraine. So initially, I was trying flexions, but stretching into them. That was just making the migraines worse and not really helping with the muscles. And this is what made me think of introducing mobility. So the mobility of just bouncing into the pool. So forward and back. Bit of a arch in your neck, not a hinge, but an arch. So you're not doing that, you're doing that. You can see that. So you're not just bending, you're rolling with your neck. So till it pulls, avoid pulling towards the back. It's not recommended, but just get that movement going. That loosens up these muscles. You've got a big muscle coming down here. Sternocleidomastoid mastoid muscle that runs through here. That is very important. That stretched and you're introducing mobility to that one. The other exercise is the side to side. Like I say, you're not bending, you're rolling. So you try and get all these vertebrae in your neck to move, as opposed to loading one vertebra by just doing that. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but essentially I'm just virtually turning on one vertebra. If you do that, sort of pushing your head up, pushing this side up and pulling this side down, so it gives a bit of a bend in your neck. And you do this rapidly. Not too fast, but just enough to warm them up, get the blood flowing, get all those horrible chemicals that build up in them that cause your cause the spasms. Just do that. I typically do 100, so that's 50 for both sides. So it's 1, 2, but count on each one. Otherwise, you have a tendency to do one faster than the other. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, till you get to 100. That way you give an even tension and an even speed, because if you do it 1, 2, you tend to slow down on the count, and the other one becomes a very quick sort of snapping. So rather just count on each move. Okay. You do the same for your forward and back, and your left and right, and then you do the rotations. And those you pull slightly into the stretch, you'll feel at the back of your neck. When you go each side, you'll feel at the back, pull at the back of your neck, and lift across the front and in your shoulders. So you just keep on doing those. Or initially, it triggered more migraines. I took more medication to counteract the more migraines, but I pushed on. I would recover from the migraine and then go back to the exercise. Recover from the migraine, go back to the exercise, and progressively it's gotten better. It's actually been a week that I've added the new type of flexions, neck flexions, and it's much better. It is so much better. It's just in 1 week. But to be aware, I have also done about 3 or 4 months of 10-kilometer hikes every weekend. I started off on 5, but fortunately it seems I was in a physical state to actually push for 10. So I've been maintaining that for this weekend was the 11th week that we've done that. So I've added that. In the beginning of this week, I added a whole gym routine where the stretches, the Zen swing, and cycling were part of the warm-ups. So I think if you start off with those, just to see if you can hike, if you can cycle, but your flexions and your Zen swings should be of great help already. Excellent. I hope that helps. And remember, no medical advice. Please seek the help of a doctor or the advice of a doctor before performing any of these, specifically if you've had an injury in the past.